You ever dig through a drawer or an old shoebox and find something from your childhood? Something you haven't touched in years? Maybe a forgotten toy, a photo, or a dusty old game cartridge. There's a certain kind of nostalgia that hits you in moments like that. Warm, familiar. But sometimes when you go looking for the past, it looks back at you. Tonight's story isn't about your average haunted house or some glitchy horror game designed to be scary on purpose. No, this one is different. This one started with something as innocent as tidying up an apartment. It ends with something you might not forget the next time you hear your DS startup tone at 2 a.m. So go ahead, grab a blanket, turn off the lights, open that snack bag nice and slow, and whatever you do, don't play this one alone. This is the story of Anna, the haunted Animal Crossing cartridge. 3 weeks ago, I wasn't looking for anything paranormal. I wasn't chasing ghosts or hunting urban legends. Honestly, all I wanted was to clean up my apartment, maybe reclaim a bit of peace in the clutter. Funny how quickly normal things can spiral into the terrifying. I was organizing drawers, untangling old cords, and tossing out junk when I opened a shoebox I didn't remember keeping. Inside, nestled between a tangled mess of earbuds and dead batteries, was my old Nintendo DS, a red and silver light, dulled from years of fingerprints and faint scratches. The screen was dusty and the buttons were sticky, but when I slid the power button, the green light blinked to life like a heartbeat. I smiled. Nostalgia's a funny drug, a flicker of childhood innocence wrapped in aged plastic. I popped open the cartridge slot to see if any game was still inside. It clicked out. New Super Mario Bros. Not bad. I remembered long bus rides, battles with Bowser, and beating levels with friends during lunch break. Under a stack of old CD cases, I found one more game, Mario Kart DS. I played a few rounds, but something was missing. There was a memory clawing at the back of my head. I used to own Animal Crossing Wild World, and not just own, live in that game. Dozens of hours fishing, catching bugs, designing clothes, writing dumb letters to villagers. It wasn't just a game, it was a part of me. But that cartridge was missing. Gone. Lost somewhere between moving apartments, changing cities, growing up. I had to find it again. I checked every game store in town. The big chains had nothing, obviously. Sorry, we stopped carrying DS games years ago, the clerk said without looking up. Even the local pawn shops were dry. Then I remembered something odd. There was an old Blockbuster. Yes, a Blockbuster, near the industrial outskirts of town. A relic that somehow never shut its doors when the rest died out. I'd always assumed it was abandoned. But when I drove by it on a whim, there was a light on in the back office. No cars, no neon sign, just dim yellow light flickering behind grime-streaked glass. I almost kept driving, but something tugged at me. Curiosity, maybe, or that primal instinct, like being watched from behind a curtain. I parked and walked toward the front. The main door was chained shut with a closed for good sign, but as I turned to leave, a thud echoed from the window. I jumped. Behind the glass, a pale face stared at me. An old man, tall, gaunt, wearing what might have once been a blue Blockbuster shirt. He didn't wave, didn't smile, just stared. Then he jerked his thumb toward the alley. I hesitated. Of course I hesitated, but I walked around. The alley door creaked open as I reached it. "You looking for something?" he said. "Animal Crossing for DS, Wild World." His eyes lit up like a candle catching wind. "Follow me." The inside of the store was rotting. Ceiling tiles sagged with brown stains. The carpet had bald spots. And a musty, chemical scent filled the air, like bleach and mold fighting a silent war. He didn't speak as he led me to the back room. "I think we have one," he muttered, and ducked into the shadows behind a curtain of broken DVDs. He returned holding a cartridge pinched between two fingers like it was diseased. No box, no label, just a strip of yellowing tape on the front that read, in smudged ink, "I'll give it to you for $1, he said. Something about the way he said it felt wrong, like he wasn't offering, he was unloading. Still, I handed him a crumpled dollar bill. He didn't put it in a register, just folded it neatly and placed it into his shirt pocket. "You play it," he said. "Don't throw it away." Why would I throw it away? He just smiled, not kindly. I got back home and popped the cartridge in. The screen lit up. The familiar Animal Crossing Wild World logo appeared. But there was no music. The cheerful menu jingle I remembered had been replaced, or rather silence, just a faint hiss, like wind pressing against a closed window. Still, the game worked. Mostly. I started a new save file, named myself Jay, and met Rover on the train just like I remembered. He asked me the usual questions. It was comforting. When I arrived in town, it was slightly different than I remembered. The grass had a faded tint, the trees felt more sparse. The villagers were a mix of ones I recognized, Tangy, Butch, Monique, and everything worked. Tom Nook greeted me, offered me a house, gave me chores. The sea looked a little darker, but I assumed it was a graphical glitch. I played for a while and then saved. That night as I slept, I dreamed of that blockbuster again. Only this time, it was flooded, and in the water, someone was staring at me. The next day when I booted up the game, something had changed. At the character select screen, where only my character Jay should have been, there was a second bed, and someone sleeping in it. No name, no icon, just a figure with long black hair and a pale blue shirt lying motionless. Confused, I selected her file. The game loaded to outside a house, not one I remembered placing. It stood alone on a cliffside, the sky tinged with red. The ocean, once blue, churned crimson. There were no other houses, no villagers, just silence. I walked toward the beach. I restarted my DS. No startup jingle. Not even the static hiss. Just nothing. The menu loaded, black background, grey buttons. The usual options were there. Jay in the first bed, still breathing slowly. And next to him, the second bed again. But this time, the girl was standing, right beside Jay's bed. Still, watching. I selected her save again. The screen flickered briefly for less than a second, showing a distorted image. A girl's face, white eyes, a stretched mouth, gone before I could process it. Then I loaded in, no music, only the sound of wind, except it was too rhythmic, too deep. Not wind at all, but breathing, as if the game itself was inhaling slowly. I stepped outside her house, and my heart dropped. The town was decayed. The grass was dead and purple. The flowers were all black. The trees were withered, some completely leafless, and the ocean, now fully red, lapped violently at the shore like it was boiling. The villagers were gone. All of them. No houses, no bulletin board, just the emptiness and the wind-breathing soundscape. I walked toward Nook's cranny. It was still there, but barely. The windows were shattered. The walls had yellow stains, eerily reminiscent of the ones I'd seen in the blockbuster. When I entered, the camera panned as usual to Tom Nook, but he was different now. His eyes were pitch black, bleeding from the corners. His pupils were bright red, and they followed me as I walked around his decrepit store. He said nothing, just stood there, watching. I talked to him out of curiosity. Text appeared. "You shouldn't be here. She doesn't want to be forgotten. You can't delete a memory." I shut off the DS. Back at the title screen, I tried to delete her. I clicked on her save file. The DS paused. Then a dialog box appeared. "Are you sure you want to delete?" The name was blank, a missing variable, as if the game didn't know what to call her. I clicked yes. The screen flickered black. Another message appeared. "Are you sure? Once you delete, you can never get back." I clicked yes again. The DS restarted itself. I waited. Back at the menu, she was still there. The same second bed. The same motionless figure now facing my character's bed. I tried again. This time, the box simply said that wouldn't be wise. My stomach twisted. The game wasn't broken. It was aware. By day 3, the music was completely gone. The menu now loaded with absolute silence, but the girl, still unnamed, stood by my bed again. Her model was twitching ever so slightly, her head tilting back and forth like a pendulum. I tried to delete her again. This time, stop. All caps. No option to continue. I played as my character instead. Jay, everything was normal. My town was intact, my villagers were cheerful, trees, mail, fruit, all as expected. But it felt wrong. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I had to try one more time. Back to the menu. I selected her again. This time, when I loaded into her world, there was a grave. Just one. At the edge of the cliff where her house stood, made of pixels that didn't belong in the DS palette. Too detailed. Shaded in a way that didn't match the rest of the art style, like someone edited it in by hand. I walked up to it. A message appeared. "My name is Anna." I stared at the screen. A new option appeared at the menu later that night. "Delete Anna." I clicked it. "Are you sure you want to delete Anna?" "Yes." "Are you sure?" "Once you delete Anna, you can never get Anna back." "Yes." Screen goes black. When it reloads, she's gone. Relief. Anna was gone. or so I thought. The next day, when I booted the game, the intro screen had changed again. One of my villagers, a white tiger I didn't recognize, slowly walked toward the screen, staring directly at me. No menu music. The tiger's grin widened with each step. Its eyes were too large, too detailed. It reached the front of the screen, then disappeared. I selected J. The town had changed again. No trees, no flowers. All the buildings were gone, except Nook's and the gatehouse. When I spoke to Nook, he said, "Why did you delete her? She was one of us." Every villager I spoke to reacted the same. "She was my friend. You think she's gone? She will never go." Something was watching me now. I felt it. Even as I moved through the game. Something behind the screen. That night I couldn't sleep. I stayed up looking online, trying to find anything. That's when I found it. A forum post, years old, buried deep. A user had a story eerily similar to mine, only it was about Majora's Mask. The name that kept repeating in the thread? Ben. A haunted cartridge. A boy named Ben. A save file that wouldn't delete. The player slowly losing control of the game. The game answering back. One of Ben's final messages in the video footage, a distorted, corrupted text box, had said, "You shouldn't have done that." I sat back in my chair. That line was verbatim what Nook had said to me in Anna's world. I found another comment buried on that forum. Sometimes when corrupted data travels, it clings to memory. A ghost in a cartridge, a virus in the ROM. They find each other. Anna's game, Ben's cartridge. What if this was the same thing? It was 2:41 a.m. when I woke to the sound of my DS turning on. I hadn't touched it. I hadn't left it on. The glow from the screen lit up the corner of my bedroom. I stumbled over, heart racing, expecting the title screen. But it wasn't the menu. It was the game. It had booted into Anna's file by itself, only it wasn't Anna standing in the world. It was Link. Majora's Mask era Link, standing there in pixelated DS resolution, blank-eyed, unmoving. The ocean behind him boiled crimson. I picked up the DS slowly, not daring to press anything. Then, without me touching a button, text appeared. She said you deleted her, another message. That was a mistake. I pressed the power button. Nothing happened. I held the power button. Still nothing. The screen didn't turn off. The battery icon was red, flickering, but the DS stayed on. Another message appeared. This one in a text box I recognized. It wasn't from Animal Crossing. It was from Majora's Mask. "You met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" I screamed and flung the DS across the room. The next morning, against all logic, I picked the DS back up. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. I booted the cartridge. The Animal Crossing menu loaded, except now there were 3 characters. Jay, Anna, and now a new one, Ben. But this was not the DS game anymore. The font was wrong. The music playing wasn't even from Animal Crossing. It was the Song of Healing, reversed from Majora's Mask, distorted, slowed to a crawl, with a faint static hiss in the background like it was crawling under my skin. I selected Ben. The game didn't load into the town. It loaded into a forest. Thick, black trees, dead sky, ground covered in leaves that crunched with every step. I walked forward. For 10 solid minutes I wandered, the same background loop repeating over and over. The trees never moved, but they felt closer each time I blinked. Then I saw her. Anna, standing between 2 trees, partially glitched, her hair flickering, her face texture missing, just a warped black mass with hollow white eyes. When I walked toward her, the screen flickered and the game locked up. But not before a message appeared. "You gave her to me, now she's mine." I plugged the DDS into my computer via the old cartridge reader I used to have for backups. The device wasn't meant to read ROM data from inside a save file, but I wanted to try and see what was going on. The folder labeled ACWW opened just fine, but inside were hundreds of TXT files. One was called chatlogbenanna.txt. I opened it, and it began to write itself in real time. Plain to why am I still here? "Ben, I kept you. You said it would stop hurting. You were forgotten. Now you're remembered. It's not the same. Pain is the only thing that persists across games." I watched as the text typed itself. "Do you believe in ghosts?" Another file appeared. It was called nocontroloverthis.exe. Before I could react, my computer crashed. Black screen. Then, reversed Song of Healing, playing from my laptop speakers, even after I unplugged the headphones, even after I shut the lid. The next time I turned on the DS, I didn't even see the Animal Crossing world. Instead, the screen showed a corrupted mess. It was Link standing in Jay's bedroom, except Jay was gone. Anna's bed was empty. The entire room was black, except for the walls, which now had writing on them. Tiny, white, glitching letters repeating the same phrase, "You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that." It looped endlessly. Then the screen glitched and returned to the file selection menu. Anna was gone. Ben was still there, but now Jay's name had been changed. It was no longer Jay. It was you. I selected you. The game loaded into a black void. Floating in the center was Anna, but this time she was clear, real. Her eyes were soft, her mouth moved as if she was crying. A single line of text appeared, "You tried to help me." Then she looked up. Her face glitched, twitched into a pixelated scream, and she disintegrated in a burst of code. Ben's laugh echoed through the DS speakers. The Majora laugh, loud, sharp, as if the speakers would break. And then the screen went dead. For good. I don't know how it started again. The DS was dead. I was sure of it. The cartridge wasn't even in anymore. But then I heard it. From my speakers, my laptop speakers. Not just the static, not just the reverse song of healing like before, but something different. A melody that shouldn't exist. It started like the Animal Crossing title theme, but halfway through, it morphed, it slowed, drooped, the tone turned minor, and then it bled into the elegy of emptiness. That horrible, hollow tune Ben is known for. Only this time, it wasn't just the song of healing reversed. It was merged. Two themes interlaced. Animal Crossing, Majora's Mask. I couldn't move. My body felt paralyzed. As if the melody itself had slipped through the air and crawled under my skin. And then, my laptop screen blinked to life. A WordPad document opened on its own. It was titled FromAnna.txt. Here's what it said. "You helped me, but it wasn't enough. He still found me. Ben doesn't stay in games. He spreads. Like static, like memory. I'm scared, but I remember. He was a file once, so was I, but now we're echoes. Please, don't play again. Don't let him back in. Your save isn't safe. Your head isn't safe. He's learning. He's watching. He's becoming something else." At the bottom was a set of corrupted characters. For a few days, I didn't touch anything. Didn't sleep. Didn't check the DS. I even taped the cartridge shut. But it didn't stop. I started seeing her. Anna. In dreams, in flashes, reflections. Standing behind me in mirrors. Sometimes it was her normal face. Young, pixelated, smiling. Other times it was melted, like texture corruption. Her face would shimmer, and then it would glitch, split in half like a polygonal tear. Her mouth would open wide, and inside was Ben's face. Just a static image, screaming without sound. She would whisper things I didn't understand. He taught me how to come back. The data isn't on the cartridge anymore. It's in you. One night, I woke up to find my laptop open, playing the song of unhealing. Ben's melody. Only this time it ended in Anna's voice, whispering, "Thank you." I returned to the old blockbuster. The windows were boarded now, the glass long shattered. Vines crept up the side of the structure like they were trying to hold it together. I brought the cartridge in a Ziploc bag, buried it beneath the floorboards inside, under the spot where I first saw that manager's hand wave at me. The floor was soft, like someone had lifted it before, and under it was something else, an N64 cartridge. No label, just a small piece of torn tape. It read, Majora. My hands shook. As I reached for it, something stopped me. A breeze? A whisper? I don't know, but I dropped the DS cartridge beside it, and I ran. It's been 3 weeks. I haven't touched another Nintendo system. I haven't even opened a browser that isn't incognito. But I still hear it, the reversed music, the melody of two souls, Anna and Ben, fused across game cartridges, across systems, across time. Sometimes I wonder if I should have kept the game or uploaded the files. But deep down I know they aren't in the games anymore. They're in the story, in your head, in mine. And if you're reading this now, you've already heard the song. They say ghosts haunt places, that they linger where they died, where pain left an imprint on the walls. But what if the walls no longer exist? What if pain learns to live inside the code? There was a boy once, a lonely boy. He died long ago, drowned in a ritual that promised him godhood, but left him trapped instead. Trapped in silicon and code. His name was Ben, and when he was no longer remembered, he remembered himself. He rewrote himself. He became something new, something digital, something hungry. There was a girl once. She died clutching her DS, tears on her cheeks and blood in her lungs, shot for a machine that remembered her smile. Her name was Anna, and when she tried to come back, he found her. Ben showed her the doorway, showed her how to ride memory like waves of data, showed her how to haunt. But he didn't just show her, he used her. Now the cartridge is buried, the DS is gone, the game is deleted. But the story remains. Because stories are data too, and just like files, they can be corrupted, glitched, possessed. So if you're hearing that music again, if the melody from Animal Crossing twists mid-bar and turns hollow, if the reversed Song of Healing starts humming from your headphones, then I'm sorry. You read too far. You remembered them, and that's all they need to come back. Anna was never deleted. Ben never left. You clicked play. They heard you, and now you're it.